I knew it wasn't a hobby from day one. I mean, when I started, I took it like dead serious. My first thing I did was I bought a $600 Jeep Wrangler TJ. It was a 2002. And then I launched the whole video series on it. You can get anyone to watch a how-to video because you're just providing straight value and showing them how to do something. I bought a wrecked Hellcat that I knew was just gonna blow up on everything. That car I actually ended up giving away to a fan. I did a promotion on my website, a sweepstakes, where if you buy something from me, you get entered to win it. The guy that won it bought a pair of sweatpants for 45 bucks, and then he won the Hellcat. This was a business model they have came up with. I'm like, I can do that.
Well, let's see what we got today on Beyond the Briefcase. Today, our guest is going to be Judah Finley. This is called Beyond the Filter, Influence with Intention. Well, today's guest isn't going to be, he's not just building a brand. He's building connection in a busy digital world. And he's a storyteller, a creator, a voice that people trust. And if you scroll past his content, chances are you've stopped to take a second look. You may have even rewatched a few of the stuff he's got out there, especially if you're an adrenaline junkie. So we're going to talk about some of his digital influence, some purpose-driven content, how social media can actually bring us closer to something real. Judah, I got a question for you.
Lay it on me, Matt.
If you could live any place in the world, where would it be and why?
Well, I actually think about that a lot because when you're young, you want to choose where you're going to live for the rest of your life if you had the decision. So I think about that a lot. But where I am from is Cape Coral, Florida. And it's actually, people don't know this, but Florida is the fastest growing city or fastest growing state in the entire country right now per capita. And Cape Coral is one of the fastest growing cities in Florida, which is pretty interesting. So I kind of was born where it's already kind of a hot spot and it's growing really quick. And I have thought about it a million times, but I really don't see a reason for me to move unless there was some amazing reason. Because most people move for their job, for their career, to make more money, but I've always been pretty successful with where I live now. So I don't really see a reason for me to leave. And if there is a reason for me to leave, I'll leave. But as of right now, I mean, I really can't really find a reason to leave. I do want to get a couple different spots. I would love to live in San Diego, have a spot there. But for the most part, I mean, I feel like my home base is always going to be Cape Coral. I like that answer because I'm born and raised in South Florida on the East Coast. And I think about how nice it is to be there. And now I accomplished more by getting out of there because I got stuck in a rut around the same people, around the same seating scenario. But so it helped me get outside the box. But then where am I? I'm back in Florida. I did this big circle back. So to live in Southwest Florida, long term, I think it's a no-brainer because you can travel to all these other places. For sure.
And you'd be surprised. I mean, you might not because I know you've traveled a lot, especially, and we'll get into some of the reasons why you've traveled, where you can see there's so much, not just in the state of Florida, but once you go outside of Florida in the U.S., there's so much to do and see here that you just wouldn't know unless you start driving through it, right? It keeps it interesting.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, another thing is like, how many people do I talk to that are like, yeah, I moved here. I worked my whole life to move here. It's like, I'm literally living in the spot. People work their entire life, give up everything to come here, and I'm just born here. So
with no state taxes.
Yeah. I don't even know about that because I've been here my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. Like, why would I move where people are literally working their entire life to move to? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, tell us about what first got you into content creation in the social media realm?
So my whole life I've been doing things that honestly I wish I could film. And I have filmed a lot of things when I was younger, just kind of for fun, but it wasn't on the mindset of like trying to grow a following. And as I got older, around 19 years old, I had my own shop. I had cars, trucks, I had like a Z06 at the time. I didn't have the Z06 yet, but I had a lot of cool stuff. You know what I mean? I was doing a lot of cool things, but I wasn't doing it for film or footage or trying to show off or nothing. I just was doing it. That's what I was into.
Right.
And I started to, I learned most of the things I know from YouTube, looking up people. But the thing with YouTube is it wasn't that popular when I was younger. It got popular, I'd say, around like 2018, 2019, I'd say it really started to get popular. And that, for me, at least, so that's when I started getting hooked on it. And I found some people that I started to watch, and somehow I got hooked into their wormhole of marketing and content. And then next thing I know, I'm watching these people, and I watched them go from like just an average Joe doing normal things to then like driving Ferraris and like absolutely crushing it at a young age. And, most people, their life decisions are all correlated to seeing someone doing something that they thought they could do and then seeing them like, oh, I want to do that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what happened with me. I saw these guys. I'm like, I can do that. Like, why am I sitting here watching these guys? And it didn't take long. It probably took like 3-4 months of watching people to be like, okay, I'm going to do this because I'm not going to sit here on my couch watching these guys crush it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which
so
a lot of people do. They get stuck doing it.
Definitely. So I didn't know how to start. I figured it out. And, I'm still figuring out my way, but I'm 26 now. I started when I was 19. So I've been doing it for like about 6 years. I think I started when I was like 20, actually. I don't really exactly remember the exact date. But.
Well, in this space, I'd say you're already a veteran of sorts.
Yeah, but there's levels to the game. It's funny when you start, you compare yourself to this level of people. And then once you get to that level of people, now I'm interacting with those type of people. Then I'm like, oh, I want to be like this level of people. Then you meet them and then you're like, okay, I want to be like this level of people. And then it just keeps... You become a loser every time you level up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're like a loser here, and then you're with these guys, and then you're like, oh, this is awesome. And then you're okay, I want to be like these guys. And then now you're a loser again. And you gotta build your way up.
But you don't stop going, from one a rung of the ladder to the next. It's true. At what point did you realize it was more than just a hobby?
I knew it wasn't a hobby from day one. When I started, I took it like dead serious. Like I didn't mess around messing around would be the guys that post on their story saying, hey, if I started a YouTube channel, who would watch? Like, I've seen that a million times. I'm like, dude, like, that's not how you do anything in life. Hey, if I started a business, who would buy from me? Like, that's not how you do it. You do it. You know what I mean? So I came up with a whole idea. Like, if you want people to watch you, you got to provide something that they're going to watch. You can't expect them. I see this is advice to a lot of people that want to start. Don't make your first YouTube video or your first piece of content saying, hey guys, my name's this. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start at this date and I'm going to do this. And I really hope you guys come and watch. Like just start it like a movie in a way. Like put out your first thing and be like, boom, I'm here. So my first thing was me buying. I came up with kind of an idea like what would be cool to launch where people have to go watch. You know what I mean? So my first thing I did was I bought a $600 Jeep Wrangler TJ. It was a 2002. And $600 is like literally dirt cheap. So anyone can afford a $600 Jeep. So I knew that would be something that would be kind of entertaining and like something that people want to check out. So I bought that and the idea was like I'm going to do like a rebuild on it, fix it up, and it'll be like a build series because I knew people would buy into that. And it's cheap enough where anyone can relate to it. So I bought the Jeep for $600. It's worth like $10,000 if it wasn't messed up. And I filmed me doing that. I bought it, and then I launched the whole video series on it, which, I filmed it one episode at a time. It's not like I filmed it all at once and put it out. It's like I filmed as I, made progress. But, I put that out, and the first day I posted, I gained like 150 subscribers, and like my first video got like 2,500 views, which like those sound like little numbers, but this is before shorts.
That's solid.
Like shorts nowadays, like, you could post them and get 1 million views. This is like long form, a 20-minute YouTube video. So it was actually a pretty big deal. It was like an instant like success in a way. But this is like peon success. But
could you monetize at that rate back then?
So with YouTube to get monetized, a lot of people don't know this as well. So YouTube, if people don't know, everyone wonders how you get paid off YouTube. This is just one way you get paid. But YouTube has a partnership agreement or whatever with you that whatever it is, where advertisers pay to put their videos on your videos, and they split it with you 50%. So if let's say Crest 3D White Strips puts a ad on your video and they pay $100,000 to YouTube to do that, they're going to distribute that ad through a bunch of different creators and put it on your video for your views, and then they give you half the ad revenue. I'm sure you probably know this, but I'm not sure. But anyway,
I'm still learning.
To get into that program, you have to get a certain amount of followers and a certain amount of subscribers and a certain amount of watch hours. Okay. So you got to have 1,000 subscribers, and then you have to have 100,000 watch hours. And this is before shorts. So like 100,000 watch hours on long form content, which is like, it equates to like, I think 1 million views on like a 10-minute YouTube video.
Okay. And that was back then. It's different now?
It's different now. It's easier to do because I just got my girlfriend all hooked up with that too now. Now she gets paid from YouTube thanks to me.
That's awesome. What's her name?
Sally Grace. You got to check her out. She has like 1 million followers across all platforms now.
So you taught her to do something that she's doing better now.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had me when I started. I was like, I could tell you, I could sit here for 2 hours telling you all the mistakes I made. But
right.
I met her about 2 years ago. And after about 6 months of me knowing her, I was like, okay, well, we got to get you online now because I didn't want to get her online and then like things fall apart. You know what I mean? Then it's like, whatever. But yeah, I brought her from 5,000 followers on Instagram with not doing any content to now having like 1 million followers across all platforms, and also totally changed her life. I mean, she quit her job. She's making tons of money now. I mean, tons of money is relative. I mean, you know, she's not a multimillionaire or nothing, but like she was able to quit her job. And now, I mean, it's a whole nother life trajectory. You know what I mean? It's like you're going down this path and now she's going down a whole nother path, which is pretty amazing. But back to the whole creator fund. So I got monetized within 5 months, and my first YouTube check was like $5,500. And this is the first time I'm ever saying this, by the way. But
okay,
I just want to talk because people don't know how all this stuff works. And also, that's not the average Joe Schmo is not going to do that. That was like purposely planned. So what happened was,
it wasn't an accident.
It wasn't an accident. So I built up a following on YouTube of doing like the random stuff I was doing. I was doing like how-to videos, because the thing about a how-to video is people don't got to like you to watch it. Mm-hmm. They're watching it because they want to learn what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's not about you. They could care less about you, but you can get anyone to watch a how-to video because you're just providing straight value and showing them how to do something. You know what I mean? So that's how I built up my following first, also with that build. And within 5 months, I got to that 100,000 hour watch time, but I only had like 900 subscribers. So I needed to hit the 1,000 subscribers and then I would get monetized. And also I had a build on the way. I bought a wrecked Hellcat that I knew was just going to like blow up. It's going to blow up on everything. But if you blow up without being monetized, you just missed out on all that money. So I was like, I got to get monetized before I post the Hellcat. So
you needed the 1,000 subscriber threshold and the view time before you would post the one that would make you
that I knew was going to pop
good money. Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
So what I did is I gave away a Yeti cooler. It was like a brand new Yeti. I bought it for $200 off Facebook, and I was like, "Hey, if you subscribe, I'm going to give this away when I hit 1,000 subscribers." So I did a whole little giveaway for free. I mean, all you had to do was just subscribe, show me you subscribed, and the minute I hit 1,000 subscribers, I put in my paperwork to get the paid partner or whatever it's called with YouTube. And then the minute I got monetized, like the next day I posted the video. And then that first month I got paid like, it was like $5,500 or something like that.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And you were like, it's on now.
I was like, yes.
So what was the next big video that you put out after that?
Well, that was a build series. So I bought the wrecked Hellcat for $26,750. And actually, funny story about that is my budget on that, because you got to have, I mean, with buying anything in life, you got to be like, okay, this is, you know, the most I can give.
Yeah.
So my cutoff was $28,000. That was like the most. That's why my top bid was on the auction site.
How'd you come up with that number?
Just looking at like what it's going to cost to fix, and just knowing what it would take to put into it. Looking back at it now, I mean, I should have paid like $35,000 because it did a lot for what my career and my channel. But at the time, like, you know what I mean? It's like I wasn't a YouTuber or nothing. I was like trying, I was making things happen, but I didn't really know how it all worked. You know what I mean? So that was the number I came up with. But I bought it for $26,750, and with fees and everything, it came out to like $28,000, like $12, which is kind of crazy because I was like, that's kind of crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the way it works, you don't bid to buy. A lot of people also want to know this is how do you buy a car from auction? You can't buy it directly. You have to find someone that has a license with Copart.
A dealer license.
A dealer license, yeah. Well, it's actually not a dealer's license. It's like a brokerage account with Copart.
Okay.
And they have to buy it for you. So you have to tell them, hey, what's the max bid? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I've heard of Manheim before where you can bid on cars.
Yeah.
I know some people that import, export.
Definitely. There's Manheim, there's Copart, there's IAA.
all the same thing. You're tuning into the auctions. You can live bid,
Yeah.
or you can pay once you meet the reserve. There's different ways to win, just like on eBay.
Exactly.
For cars.
Exactly. But Mannheim is like nice cars. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
IAA and Copart are like insurance auctions.
Yeah. Okay. So how much did you have to invest into this car before you had it show ready? And we'll talk about what you did with it next.
I think I had to put in about $5,000 to get it going.
That's nothing.
And I fixed it all myself. Yeah,
and
I was
your
also
YouTube profits right there.
Yeah. First month, and then after I put that into it, then I was the first person in the entire world that I know of that did a OEM wide body kit. So at that time, this was in like 2020 when I did this. And the Hellcat came out in 2016. The wide body kit came out, like the wide body version came out in like 2018. So they won't sell you those wide body parts because they don't want people slapping, because they want to sell it to you. They don't want everyone to buy the kit and then put it on. So I bought it off a wrecked car, and then I drilled like 36 holes in the side of my quarter panel on my Hellcat, and then like snapped it in perfect. I was pretty proud of that, honestly. Like,
how'd you template it out? Did you just?
I flipped it over. And then I put a piece of cardboard, not cardboard, but like poster board, and carved it perfect. Awesome. And then I put pieces of grease on all the little tabs, because they're like snap clips. And these snap clips, like, they don't come off. Like, once they're snapped, it's game over. You got to put new ones on or something if you will go to pull it off.
That's creative.
I think there's 36 of them. And when I clipped it in, everyone clipped in perfect. I was like, I'm a genius.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, it felt pretty good. But it came out really good, and I was really proud of that because I was only 20 at the time when I did that. So
yeah, that's impressive. If you guys are listening and watching, I mean, at 20 years old, I wouldn't have had the foresight to template car parts. I mean, this guy Judah was on a mission.
Yeah.
And now only 6 years later, let's go back. What did you end up doing with that car?
So that car I actually ended up giving away to a fan. So I did a promotion on my website, a sweepstakes, where if you buy something from me, you get entered to win it. And at the time, this was like a huge leap, because like I said, I was watching a lot of other YouTubers, a lot of other people, and this was a business model they have came up with. And it's just a promotion. You know what I mean? You've seen a million promotions, but pretty much buy their stuff, you get entered to win the car. And then it's kind of a cool thing, because instead of selling your car or whatever you want to do to get something else, you give it to one of your people that literally are watching you on YouTube or watching you online. And they're probably manifesting like they want to get that car. That's probably why they watch you, you know what I mean? And then now you're giving it to them for buying a t-shirt. So it's pretty cool. The guy that won it bought a pair of sweatpants for $45, and then he won the Hellcat.
That's absolutely incredible. Yeah. I watched you give away a couple cars, and I didn't know as much about your journey leading up to that. I don't think I saw the Hellcat giveaway. So.
Yeah. Well, I've been at this for a while, you know what I mean? So I've given away 9 vehicles now.
Wow.
5 like full-size badass vehicles. The first one was the Hellcat. The second one was a side-by-side, a Can MX-3.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen those.
I haven't.
The third was a wide-body C8 Corvette that I built. And then the fourth was a lifted F-250 King Ranch diesel. That was badass. It was all camoed out. And then the fifth was a Jeep on 4G Autos that I built. It was all custom. And then the other ones was like a dirt bike, another dirt bike, and then another dirt bike, and then a quad. So I've done 9 now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And are you allowed to tell me what's next?
I got some plans. I mean, really, I'm focused on the brand mostly.
Okay, well, let's talk about the brand, because I see a couple emblems on your hat and your shirt, even your necklace there. So tell me, what is the brand you started, and tell me about it.
Yeah, so I mean, when you start on YouTube, I mean, you're mostly focused on like, you know, getting views, building a following. But now I'm in it longer term. I realize like the people that are building the brands are the people that run everything. I mean, that's who's doing the deals with the YouTubers, paying them to post their stuff. And you know, the people that are doing the brand stuff, I mean, they're the people that have the chance of becoming a billionaire, you know what I mean? Or like not even just a billionaire, but like hundreds of millions, you know what I mean? And it's not really a pipe dream, because a lot of these guys have done it. And a lot of these guys don't do anything on social media that build these brands. A lot of the guys that build the brands that pay the YouTubers are just like some business guy sitting in his chair, you know, paying these YouTubers, and then he builds $1 billion brand off their back pretty much, you know what I mean? And then throws them.
By having them promote his stuff.
Exactly. And, you know, once I started seeing that, I'm like, okay, I want to come up with a brand. But the thing is, with a brand, you can't just slap a logo and name and hope it works. Like a lot of the times it's like luck involved with like the perfect name, perfect logo, and the perfect marketing and the perfect product. And, it's somewhat luck, somewhat skill, and somewhat just like perseverance, I guess. You know what I mean? Because, everyone's trying to build a brand, but, there's brands that sell for, hundreds of millions of dollars, and there's brands that you can't even sell a t-shirt with it on it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Well, how did you end up selling? So you got so Monarch is the name of the brand.
Yeah, Monarch with a K.
Monarch with a K, a CK.
CK, yes, sir.
And then the hat is an M/Monarch butterfly.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Monarch butterfly vector image looks like an M. And then you got the necklace to match. The sweatpants, I use that example because you threw that out there. You got someone to buy this brand that they didn't really care about because all they wanted was the car.
Yeah, exactly.
But now all of a sudden, the brand is associated with getting free cars or dirt bikes.
Yeah.
So is it that simple? Am I reading that right?
Well, so when I gave away the Hellcat, I didn't have the brand going yet. At that time, my website was judahsgarage.com, which was also my YouTube channel. It was like Judah's Garage. I mean, at the time, I was like, I want to make it. This is another thing with YouTube. If you're going to start a YouTube channel, you should just make it your name, because life is really long, and what you're into now is going to transition with time. So if you just make it your name, your brand is your name. If you make it about something else, you might get stuck in a niche that you're like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. You know what I mean?
Then you have to start from square one on your branding.
Exactly. Because I kind of had to restart. But the thing is, you restart, but with a great foundation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my thing was Judah's Garage, which was awesome because it was all about the stuff in my garage. You know what I mean? But as I got older, I was like, I'm looking up to people now that they're not a YouTube channel, they're an actual individual. Because there's a difference between having a personal brand and then having a YouTube channel.
Like Mr. Beast.
Yeah, he's like but he's actually done a good hybrid, but the same. So it would be hard to put your finger on him because he's like very unique. You know what I mean?
What are some of the other names, one or two that pop up where you sort of see yourself following in their the way that their trajectory?
I mean, I'm not saying I'm Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is a personal brand. You know what I mean? He's he's a name everyone's going to be able to realize, but like people, that you just think of him as a person, but
so
really,
you got Trump Tower, Judah's Garage.
Yeah, and I don't know about that. But I'm just saying, like, he's a personal brand, like he's an influencer at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's true.
He had his TV show, he did all these different things, so he built up his name. He didn't build up like a YouTube channel in a way, and that makes sense.
He didn't have to. He built a following on Twitter, and then he became the president. Yeah,
but he's been at it for a long time too, building his brand and building his notoriety. But it takes time, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of YouTubers that, if they died tomorrow, people really wouldn't care, but like they get a ton of views. And I don't mean to say that in a mean way. It's just like people are watching them for what they're doing and not who they are. And then there's some people that you watch because you like them as a person versus you like their videos. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. You're attracted to some people because of who they are versus how creative their videos are.
Exactly.
Yeah, like my kids will watch the creative ones doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, God, I can't listen to that man's voice anymore. Turn that crap off. And they're glued to it.
Yeah.
They're stuck on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're watching some guy in UK play video games and he's getting rich watching you waste your life away. In fact, she said that to my 8 and my 13-year-old. Well, let's talk a little bit about your style strategy and the substance of your content, because your content, it feels both creative and intentional. What inspires your aesthetic or your approach?
I mean, a lot of things is marketing. So you're like, okay, this would do really well. Like this would be interesting. People would want to watch this. And I mean, there's a good balance of like marketing versus like, I like to do this versus like, this is entertaining or this is funny. And then also this is just my regular life. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a very like hybrid setup, you know what I mean? And also right now, I haven't been posting a whole lot right now because I've been trying to focus on my game plan. You know what I mean? Because I've been working real hard for a long time and I've gotten really far, but there's levels to the game. You know what I mean? The guys that are building, $100 million brands, they don't even got to make no content. So like, I'm trying to learn from those guys and then bring in the content, bring in the firepower that I know how to do and be all of it combined, which there's only a few guys that pulled it off. Like Mr. Beast has done that because he has in-person sales. He has his like chocolate bars that he sells in all the Walmarts.
I saw him like, what?
Yeah.
I'm not buying a freaking Mr. Beast bar.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, he's
Can't be that great.
I mean, he's
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, but he's selling. I mean, that company's worth like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And
I've
same thing with
heard.
like Logan Paul. His company's worth $1 billion now.
That's freaking crazy.
And that wasn't possible 10 years ago to build $1 billion brand in like a year. Like
Wow.
that's not even possible. But
Coca-Cola is looking back like, I wonder if they fire their people or some of those brands. They're getting paid $70, $80 million a year, $100 million a year salaries.
Which guys?
Like Coca-Cola, for instance. I don't know what their CEO makes.
Oh,
but
okay.
The big brands that have been around, the timeless brands. Like I could see Mr. Beast going that route.
For sure. Yeah, because I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen in the future. Because there's a lot of things now with social media and just these power of personal brands that are just, it adds firepower to what you're doing in like, a year. You know what I mean? It doesn't take 10 years now anymore.
Well, what's your favorite kind of brand collaboration and what makes one truly work?
With like an individual or with a company?
Either.
I just think, I mean, certain brands, it has to fit the person's persona, or I think people are like, they just see it as like an ad in a way.
Okay.
And also brands building a brand, it's not always about just sales. I mean, sometimes it is, but like certain brands will make you feel a certain type of way. You know what I mean? Then there's a lot of guys that are building brands that it's like people like the brand for more than just the product. It's like they feel like an infinity to it. Is that the right word?
I
know I'm talking about that word?
For, yeah.
I think that might be the wrong word, but they feel part of it. They feel like it's like represents them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Affinity.
That's it. Yeah. But so I think the idea is just finding out something that represents you and then trying to find people that represent what you're doing. So with like me, Monarch, not that you asked, but
I was about to, so it's good timing.
So I wanted to come up with something. I mean, my worst fear in life is me to be like laying on my deathbed and be like, fuck, I should have done more with my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I should have done this. I should have done this. And, people don't know this, but only 2% of monarch butterflies become butterflies. A lot of them die at caterpillar before they become a butterfly. So before I knew that, I mean, I was always thinking about a brand that represented like personal growth and like, I mean, people say, it almost sounds corny to say this, but like growing into your full potential. Like you hear that too much. Corny. It's said too much now. So it is a little, it's like, I hear it too much. You know what I mean? And sometimes
we're going to hashtag grow to full potential on this episode.
Sometimes people will say, like, yeah, my brand represents growing to your full potential. I'm like, no, it doesn't, bro. Your name, it has nothing to do with like what you're saying. You can't just slap a tagline on something that means like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to be fitting in my opinion.
You.
Yeah. So Monarch, obviously the name of the most renowned butterfly. And, it just represents like growing into your full potential. Like don't die a worm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No one wants to be a worm. You know what I mean? You want to be the butterfly. And it's actually funny. Now I say this to you. I want you to start looking at people and looking for the butterfly and you'll see them everywhere. People have them tattooed. People are wearing shirts. People have bumper stickers.
Did you start that trend?
No, it's already a thing, but no one's capitalized on it. And not that I'm trying to capitalize on it, but I mean like build something around the butterfly because the butterfly is kind of lame. It's kind of like feminine. So I wanted to make a logo that wasn't feminine. So
it looks pretty masculine to me. It looks almost like a spider.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Like a Marvel sign. With I could see it in the big light, like the Batman.
Like signal. A superhero or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drew it myself, so I'm really proud of it.
That's awesome.
Because once I was like, I didn't know the name Monarch because also Monarch sounds pretty cool in my opinion. Also, Monarch's a king, so it's kind of not that it means being a king, but it's kind of a cool dual
It's got
meaning.
Different meanings, yeah. People can use their imagination.
But I wanted to come up with something with the butterfly, and I was like, that's so gay. I don't want to do I don't want to do something like, what am I going to have, some butterfly brand? But I came up with Monarch, and then I found the domain, found out it was available, bought it, and then came up with everything else. So
Monarch.com.
Yeah, Monarch.com. Because another thing is it's like, you can't be a Nike or Nike couldn't be Nike Apparel Company.com. It has to be Nike.com. So you got to be able to get the domain. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother thing with coming up with something. And
so you talked about the brand being the person, but were you referring to, well, there's two different types of branding, and I'm no branding expert, and I know you're still learning how it all works, but you're light years ahead of someone that hasn't studied it. But the YouTube channel is the name of the individual. The brand could be something different, or you're talking about two different things. You're building a brand and also are marketing it through your channels?
Yeah. So, I mean, my personal brand is just Judah now, Judah Finley on everything, but then Monarch's my brand. So the thing is, you can't, but when I was doing what I was doing before, I couldn't like sponsor an athlete to be a Judah's Garage athlete. And then they're rocking a shirt with my name on it. That wouldn't make sense. So now I'm looking into sponsoring people. I've got a whole bunch of people I'm talking to and working with. And also, I mean, I have the skill of like supercharging people's personal brands. Like I brought my girlfriend from nothing to now.
It's a great story too.
Yeah.
We'll have to have you back on in the future. Maybe bring her. We'll talk to her about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like surreal for her. I mean, she's working a serving job and now she's like traveling the country, like a
now
superstar.
She's like, wait, what's her name again?
Sally.
So people probably come up to you, Judah, you know Sally?
Well, yeah, it's funny because like now she is getting the spotlight. I'm like, this is funny because like
it's like, what the heck, man? I must be doing something right, but
yeah, it's definitely cool. It's definitely cool. It's like the ultimate power couple type dynamic. You know what I mean? Because she gets me into rooms that I wouldn't be able to get myself into. You know what I mean? I get her into rooms that she couldn't get herself into. So
yeah,
like
you guys make a good team.
Definitely
play off each other's strengths.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to a different topic here in terms of like influence and impact. So you're followed by a lot of value-driven shoppers and creatives and tech lovers and, of course, people who love stuff that's made in a garage. What's something that you hope that they take away from following you?
Really just to be inspired to go after whatever you want to do. You know, we all have different goals in life. We all want to do different things. We all have different talents. We're all different individuals. You know what I mean? Like I have no desire to do what you're doing, but that doesn't mean I don't think it's awesome and I think it's cool. And like I have all respect for anyone that sets out on a path and does something like impressive with their life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really why I just like to encourage people to do is like go after whatever you want because everything you do in life starts small. You know what I mean? And I was just talking to I got invited to speak at a school yesterday and I was there and I was telling the kids like, listen, like I can't tell you all what to do with your life, but you can do something, you know what I mean? Like, and I know, and I've met so many people in so many different areas of life where I can use their story and say, hey, this guy did this. This guy was a nerd and he used to fix iPhones and now he's driving a Lamborghini. So that's actually a real story. I have a friend that, in high school, he was like the nerd that if your phone got cracked, you'd hit him up like, yo, can you fix my phone for $100? And now he buys and sells phones and he has a whole little empire selling Apple products and he's driving around in a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? So it's like,
who's the nerd now?
Yeah. But he's a cool guy. Not like nerd isn't a negative term. It just means that you're into stuff that I'm not into. You know what I mean?
Well, when I was growing up, the Revenge of the Nerds really glamorized nerds. But then fast forward a few more years and you're seeing nerds being elevated, such as Bill Gates, Elon Musk. Not to say I'm endorsing what these people stand for, but they were huge nerds.
Yeah.
So with Jeff Bezos, I mean, you read some of their stories and you're like, and now nobody's going to be calling them a big nerd. They're going to be like, hey, can we hang out?
Well, it's not a negative. That's the thing.
Can you buy me a Lamborghini?
Yeah, nerd has a negative meaning to it, but really it's not. It just means you're kind of into dork stuff. It's like nerding out. Like if you are nerding out on something, you can nerd out on anything. You know what I mean? You can nerd out on water and be like.
The nerds are the ones now laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because being a nerd isn't a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's just you got to nerd out on the right things, I guess. Because I nerd out on certain things too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's why I try to tell people just like whatever you're into, you know, there's a business. Find out how to make money with whatever you're really into. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, speaking of the class that you spoke to, I really commend you for that. One of the things that I remember in high school is there was this guy that came to speak to our group, and he was a motivational speaker, call him. Mm-hmm. But I never forgot that story. He showed pictures of what he looked like. You know, he was overweight as a kid, and I was overweight at the time, you know, and he didn't really come from nothing. Then he showed his progression, and then here he is on stage talking to us, and I see myself doing that same thing. I've done it on a scaled down version, but that's something that I commend you for doing at your age, even because they can relate more with you.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a good question. Do you think that influencers have a responsibility to use their platforms for more than just content?
A lot of guys will be like, no, I'm just an entertainer. They'll try to opt out of it, but that's just them like opting out in their own mind. Like everyone knows like the minute you are taking pictures of people and like people are coming up to you like shaking, like they're so excited to talk to you, like you have now a duty to lead these people down a good path. And if like honestly, if you do the wrong thing, you're going to fuck a bunch of kids' lives up. Honestly, I see that with a lot of people. And that doesn't mean I'm smart enough to look at someone like, oh, this is entertaining. And I really like this guy as an entertainer, but I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to craft my whole life about this guy that's an idiot online. Because there's a lot of guys that are idiots online that become super successful and they're super entertaining. It doesn't mean they're a bad person, but that's like a very fine line. You know what I mean? It's the same with like rappers and stuff. Like a lot of people look up to the wrong people. That's one of the things I talk to the kids about is like, pick the right role models. Because even if you're looking at like a rapper, let's say the rapper has the watch, the chain, the car, the girls, like really, who's the big boss? Not the rapper. It's the record label that signed the rapper. So maybe study the guy that owns the record label and look up to him and follow his podcast and not listen to the rapper where his like stupid sunglasses and like talk on a podcast like and think that he's the one you should listen to. You know what I mean? Like maybe you got to be smart enough to like know who to listen to. Yeah. Because a lot of kids, that's your own fault. And also though, you got to take self-accountability. If you listen to some idiot online that's like promoting gambling and doing drugs and then now your whole life's messed up, like I also think that's kind of your fault at the same time too. But I don't know. I'm not going to be the guy that ruins people's lives. You know what I mean? Like I'm down to entertain people and show the fun stuff and mess around and not take things too seriously. But at the same time, I want people to have a better life because they listen to me. You know what I mean?
You got to keep it real on camera and in person. What advice would you give to someone trying to grow, but without selling out?
If you don't sell out, you're going to go broke. You know what I mean? So sell out in something that makes sense for your brand and that's something you're proud of. Because selling out, that term, I don't even know what that term means. It just means you're making money. And people don't want to see you make money. Like it's like something that's interesting.
What about from the context of selling out, like no longer being true to yourself, selling out the people that got you there?
Well, that's why I think you got to find stuff that aligns with you. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're going to sell out, which means like now you're just selling, in my opinion, it just means like now you're selling. Like find something that is like meshes well with what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because if it's totally random, you're like, what is this? You know what I mean?
You won't have that same passion to support it.
Exactly. And also you can make, I mean, the guys that do that make the most money too. It's like the guys that find something that works well with what they're doing. And like they start marketing the right thing. Like,
I'm thinking about those goofballs, the dudes or the show that those guys just make these wild videos of them doing crazy stuff, like dropping bouncy balls from the top of stadiums and making basketball hoops from, you know.
Oh, like a dude perfect type stuff?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I never watched any of that, but I know who you're talking about.
Well, if I didn't have kids flipping around the station, I might not ever come across it. But
even those guys, I think they have like toys in Walmart and stuff. So like,
yeah, that's true.
But the thing is with that's like a definition of like a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? So, you know, those guys kind of started, I honestly don't really know nothing about those guys. I just know somewhat of what they do. But I mean, they have like a huge YouTube channel, warehouse from what I've seen, and they have toys in Walmart. So it's interesting though, when like an old man is targeting kids, that's an interesting thing, but I mean, whatever, you know, if it makes money, it makes money.
Yeah. You know sometimes I cringe and, you know, the world we live in, you don't know who to trust, what content to trust, what the ultimate message or the moral of the story is.
Yeah. Like Mr. Beast, you know what I mean? It's like his videos, I don't watch them, but like, I mean, you got to respect a guy that's crushing it. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's not to respect unless you are a hater like me and don't want to buy his chocolate bar. It's like, no, I just try to limit the candy intake.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I'll get the one that the high cacao content or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So we're going to wrap it up here in a minute. If listeners remember one thing from today's conversation, what do you hope that it is?
I think it would be just to start whatever's that's on your mind. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of people have a lot of things on their mind that they want to do and they overcomplicate it. You know what I mean? Like
so just start.
Yeah. And also just don't be afraid to, you know, put yourself out there, I guess, because you never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And but people can't, it's really the hardest thing I think for humans to do is like be able to deal with other humans' opinions and like their hate and their backlash, which is going to come when you get any type of success at all.
Yeah.
But really that just comes from people being curious about you, not really. Because people they hate first and then they like buy into what you're doing. Like their first reaction is to hate. And then they like will buy into what you're doing. You know what I mean?
That concept of haters has been around since I was a kid. And what I like to tell people is make your haters your congratulators.
Yeah.
And
well,
you
what
won't-
time they will be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You just give them time, right?
Well, yeah, so it'd just be like, I guess go up. I mean, whatever you want to do. I mean, just start it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Figure it out as you go. Cause you don't want to die and be like, oh, I should have done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Well, at 26, I don't think I'd be saying the same thing. I think I was just going kind of aimlessly without a rudder. So that's good advice to hear from someone your age.
Yeah.
For these.
But I mean, it's hard though when you got like parents like that like, are expecting certain things out of you, and like it's like that's where things get tricky. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
as a parent, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Like I never had parents to tell me anything what to do. I just kind of figured it out on my own.
Well, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
18-year-old self.
Maybe we go a little younger for you, like 16, since you did so much by 19.
Yeah.
How about your 16-year-old self?
Well, 16, I'd say like start filming stuff sooner. And also it'd be like, don't be afraid to like sell. I think I wish I would have like started like started consulting when I was younger, which would sound weird because I'm so young, but I answer so many questions of people, and like I've helped so many people with what they're doing, and I've been around so many different people that like even if I haven't personally done it, I can like say, hey, go check this guy or go do this, and like it can change your life, just pointing you in the right direction.
Well, you got your first testimonial from your girlfriend.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that's not the only person I've helped grow on social media.
One solid one.
I've had like probably like 3 people I've like really changed their life with social media. And that's just one thing though. And even before social media though, like before social media, I was buying and selling cars and teaching people how to do that. So, I mean, I've changed people's lives with that, showing them like, hey, do this, buy this. Like,
yeah,
you'll make money. You know what I mean?
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on today and sharing so candidly with me. I know the people watching this today are really going to appreciate hearing this message from someone that in some part has never shared some of these things before. Tell us where people can find you on social media.
If you just look up my name, Judah Finley, on anything you'll find me.
That's F-I-N or
Findley.
Findley.
Yeah.
And
I'm on everything.
Since you mentioned, so the monarch.com is also a website.
Yeah, it's my brand. Yeah, so you could find that as well. You know, if you find me, then you'll find that, or you could look that up and find me through that. It's like either or.
Okay. Well, the next episode we're gonna have someone in a similar space. We're gonna keep going down this road of bringing influential people on from different walks, and until the next episode of Beyond the Briefcase. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
You got it.
Later.